I'm not the biggest fan of sports. I get why people like them. I don't look down on anyone that does, but it never really interested me. The Super Bowl is one of the biggest TV events in history, back then and today, and yet my only knowledge is famous commercials and what shows debuted after.
Catch a sneak preview of Family Guy right after the Super Bowl on Fox.
But for me, I had my own Super Bowls as a kid. One was 2 Disney's Puma Bowl, and the other was the subject of today's video, Cartoon Network's The Big Game. From 1998 to 2001, Cartoon Network would air these special marathons to spoof sports programs that aired every Saturday in January with a repeat on Super Bowl Sunday. They mostly featured classic cartoon characters pitted against each other, like Tom and Jerry, Roadrunner vs. Coyote, and Bugs vs. Daffy, with parodies of then popular Super Bowl commercials, halftime shows, and even appearances from other CN characters. For a parody, they went all out, even as going so far as to get actual commenters, like Pat Summerall and John Madden. I hate to keep sounding like a broken record, but this is what old Cartoon Network was great at, taking decades-old cartoons you've seen thousands of times and turning them into an event. As you might have guessed, all the specials were parodies of the Super Bowl. It mostly featured commenters like Pat and John doing play-by-plays over slapstick moments for the classic cartoons. The best thing about pretty much all of them are interviews with the fans of both teams. It's so over the top, it's hilarious.
Who let the duck out? Quack, 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 quack. Who let the duck out? Quack, 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 quack.
I also love how seriously some of the commenters are taking it, as if they're talking about a real sporting event. But they know it's silly too, and there's a funny joke here and there.
That's not my voice. I haven't seen lip sync that bad since Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought, girl, you know, it's true. It's a pretty darn good song.
Yeah,
For commercial breaks, Cartoon Network had a series of fake ads spoofing popular Super Bowl commercials. There were some I immediately recognized even as a kid, like the one spoofing Gap. Others I didn't get until I was older, like the one spoofing the famous Mean Joe Green commercial, the Monster.com When I Grow Up ad, and Velma's Secret, a parody of Victoria's Secret. Others I still don't get. Does anyone know what this one is spoofing?
Huh?
And now, this message.
Today's video is brought to you by Audible. Audible allows you to listen to audiobooks and podcasts on any device, whether it be a smartphone, iPad, or tablet, and it picks up right where you left off, with thousands of titles to choose from. The book I'm reading now is The Fresh Prince Project, How the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Remixed America by Chris Palmer, an in-depth look at the history of one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Sign up for a 30-day free trial, and your first audiobook is covered. Go to audible.com/cartoonguy. Again, that's audible.com/cartoonguy. Now, back to the show. I was able to reach out to Stephen Patrick. He did a lot for Cartoon Network, particularly their on-air promo department. He was the director and co-writer of the Scooby-Doo Project, co-creator of Cartoon Fridays, writer for Harvey Birdman, and producer of those obscure late 2000s shorts. I asked him about how the specials came to be. He had this to say: "From my memory, the first one was Tom vs. Jerry, to counter-program the actual Super Bowl in the winter of '98, and it was shorter of a production than they became. That one was produced by Eric Richter. Maybe just the game itself, with Madden and Summerall announcing. The next year, airing in '99, it was Tweety vs. Sylvester, and the production was bigger, produced by Pete Johnson and Stuart Hill, adding the Inside the NFL guys to do a pregame show. We also added commercial parodies that year. Then the game airing in 2000 was the one I wrote and produced with Craig Sven Gordon, which was Roadrunner vs. Coyote. That one added a documentary on the history of the big game, again produced by Pete Johnson, more commercial parodies, a longer pregame show, more celebrity guests, and a longer game, if I'm remembering correctly. The last year they did it was Bugs vs. Daffy in '01. But I was so deep into producing CCF every week that year, I don't remember much about that one. For, I think it was Tweety vs. Sylvester, they did a shoot on the Saturday morning at a local bar to simulate a viewing party, with fans and for extras. They called in everyone who worked at CN and their families. Did it again for Roadrunner vs. Coyote. Fake choreographer for the halftime show for Roadrunner vs. Coyote, Helmut Spazmacher, was played by Michael Kohler, who wrote countless pieces of music for Air and a lot for sound design. Many Cartoon Network characters would make cameos. In the first one, Tom vs. Jerry, Shaggy even makes an appearance as a sportscaster, and for some reason he's called Shaggy Bumpkus. Oddly enough, he was voiced by Casey Kasem, but he left the role around this time, so that might mean this and a promo spoofing Scream might be one of the last things he did as Shaggy for a while.
So, like, where do I put this thing? Where? In my ear? Like, you gotta be kidding.
Bugs vs. Daffy had Dexter and Mojo Jojo going back and forth at each other, as Dexter was rooting for Bugs and Mojo was rooting for Daffy. Even Cal does a Britney Spears-esque dance for the halftime show. Also, that reporter, you know who he is? That's Tom Clark, who was the announcer for Cartoon Network from 2000 to 2002. This guy was awesome. His enthusiasm whenever he would say what's coming up next was so infectious.
Coming up next, it's JVVO, followed by Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network.
He's got some great comedic timing too.
What? What do you mean? No, wait a minute. Hold on.
Are you
Hold
all
on.
right there,
wait.
Tom?
Oh, no. I'm okay. I'm fine.
There were several pre-game specials. The one I remember the most was the tailgate party for Cartoon Fridays. I remember the night it aired, I was bummed out because I was going to be dragged to church, but something happened that we ended up not going, so I was able to watch it, and you could imagine how happy I was. I thank God YouTube exists, because I would never be able to relive these fond memories. So why did the Big Game series end after Bugs and Daffy? Why couldn't we have a Big Game Popeye vs. Bluto or something? Well, according to Stephen Patrick, I think by Bugs vs. Daffy, the idea had kind of reached its limit. If I had to guess, there was also the point where Adult Swim started separating out what was for kids and what was for adults on CN. And those specials were a product of when the network was more for all ages. That's total speculation on my part though. After the last Big Game, we shifted towards an awards show parody one year, The Fancy Anvils, which I worked on with Stuart Hill and Mac Picchini. After that, I was put in charge of revamping Fridays and casting Tommy and Zynga, and later Tara, so that kept me out of the loop on regular promo stuff for years. Even if it did stop there, these specials certainly were entertaining. These actually are a lot of fun to look back on. It especially has me nostalgic for a time when Cartoon Network was aimed at both kids and adults, and a time where there was so much variety and creativity in programming blocks and marathons. But regardless, enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, and until next time, I'm 47 Cartoon Guy and I gotta fly. If you want to support this series and many other videos, click the link below to my Patreon. You get a special credit, early access, shout out to your channel or blog, even a commission by me. Every dollar goes into the production of these videos for software, research, DVDs, as well as help put food on the table. If you're not able to donate, you can also help by liking, commenting, subscribing, and clicking the little bell icon. I thank you and I gotta fly.